What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to yet another Roster Bubble Series video. I hope you guys are doing well. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when the live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate you coming back. Share this out. Do all the good stuff. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to all these different videos that we're doing, the live streams, all that sort of good stuff. And the New York Giants have signed 2 more players, which we will conduct Roster Bubble Series videos on. But if you haven't been to these videos before, I take a player that's on the roster bubble. I talk about their background, their competition, ways they could win a spot on the roster, ways they could lose a spot on the roster, and a prediction at the end. So today we're going to talk about cornerback, safety, defensive back, if you will, Raheem Layne. He was signed by the Giants just today after a workout. And what is to know about him? He's 25 years old, 5'11", 192 pounds, out of Indiana in 2022. He signed with the Chargers, was brought back on the practice squad, elevated a few times during the 22 season, and was kept on the roster in 23, tore his ACL, and then has been a free agent since the end of the 2023 season, and now he's a New York Football Giant. Now, he played 6 games in 22, 2 tackles, 80 snaps on specials, 25 snaps on defense, and started 1 game in 2023, 5 games total, 5 tackles, 74 snaps on specials, 76 snaps on defense, gave up 3 completions for a total of 29 yards. So, obviously, not a ton of time in the NFL for Raheem Layne. So, I'm going to go into Sports Illustrated's scouting report on him in terms of the pros and the cons. So, pros. Cornerback, safety, versatile. Like guys that can play both positions, works well for Shane Bowen's system, and it provides a little competition to certain guys across the field like Nick McLeod and Alex Johnson. Understands gap assignments, and he's very good versus the run. I like that. The Giants, again, need guys that are very versatile once again, and they understand their gap assignments, they understand their coverages a little bit, and they're very good versus the run. Giants need guys that can take good angles, this, that, and the third, and it looks like Raheem Layne could be that guy. He reads keys very well. He can play a single or 2 high system, good special teamer, and patient in coverage. It'd be interesting to see what he does in 3 safety looks. I don't know if the Giants will present that too much here in the preseason, but in the regular season, I would pretty much bet on 3 safety looks with Newbin, Pinnock, and Dane Belton. Patient in coverage, I like that too, because you're not overreaching for the ball. You're not too aggressive to where you miss the ball and you're chasing down the ball carrier, or you're too conservative in coverage to where you're giving up a lot of cushion and a lot of receptions. So those are your pros for Raheem Layne. As far as your cons go, he struggles in man coverage in deep zones. That's not good, but at the same time, I don't think there's going to be a ton of man coverage throughout the preseason and also in the regular season if he does make the roster because of Shane Bowen's zone-oriented system. Lacks the range and instincts. That's a little off. I mean, the instincts could be because he's still transitioning over to safety, but at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of that. And lacking the range, also not great hip movement, poor pad level, not great in transition. So he's not the most shifty player in the world, which if he is behind a receiver, let's just say there's a play in coverage, right, to where a corner is on his right side against a wide receiver, and he has to transition back to go and fix his corner's mistake, I would bet 9 times out of 10 that he is going to have trouble doing that, and that wide receiver will score for a touchdown. So that is, again, not great in terms of a con, and he's not too much of a ball hawk. Going back to his college days at Indiana, by the way, he played 5 years. Well, no, he played 4 years, 5 years total because 2020 was in there somewhere, but he played 17, 18, 19, 21. 1 interception in 21, 65 tackles and a tackle for a loss, and also pass deflection. He did play with Micah McFadden. Worth noting. Very much worth noting. So his competition. Most of it's hurt. Most of it is hurt right now. So he could have a path to the roster that a lot of people don't see. And the NFL experience does help in this case. I'll tell you why in a sec. Jonathan Sutherland, who's a guy that the Giants just recently signed out of the same workout period from the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think he's actually gotten any NFL time because it's not documented. Elijah Riley, he is hurt. I think he had a concussion. Jalen Mills, he is hurt. He's had a calf injury since the beginning of camp. Alex Johnson, who's been healthy, he's been playing at safety and some corner. So there's that. And Javarius Owens you could add in as well, who's also sidelined. So Sutherland and Johnson are pretty much the only healthy guys that right now he looks to be competing with. So how can he win? Health, number one. Special teams usage. He's a very good special teamer. So gunner, protector, I could definitely see him as a gunner. Now, he does have problems with side-to-side movement, but listen, being a gunner, that helps for the Giants on specials. I know they had Miles Boykin at one of the gunner spots, and he's been doing really well. There's another guy they had at the gunner spot. I forget who at this very moment from the Lions game, but a gunner, a personal protector. I think he could be a very good special teamer for the Giants, and he played a huge number of special team snaps for the player he is last 2 years with the Chargers. Ball hawk ability grows. You would like to see him maybe get a pick or two and just improve in his overall game. Cornerback safety versatility. Right now, the safety room is being depleted with the injury bug. Do I know why? Do I know how? All these other different things. No. But that's where he could grow. Show that versatility, ball hawk ability. He had one interception in college. Show your growth in the safety game. Play well versus the run. I think Shane Bowen is definitely looking for that. And I think the Giants are looking for that because, again, it's a redundant talking point, but it's a talking point. The Giants were terrible last year versus the run, and they could always use guys that are very good versus the run. They take the right lanes and stuff like that. And if he gets better with man coverage or deep zone responsibilities, or if Shane Bowen puts him in the right spot to where he doesn't have to do all that sort of stuff, but he puts him in his own niche, that's a way he could win a spot on the roster. Not necessarily a starting role, but a backup role. Maybe he's inactive a few games, or maybe he's on the practice squad. There's all sorts of possibilities, right? So how can he lose? Health, that's number one. Number two is if he is toasted in man coverage, if he's given the opportunity in man coverage and he's toast, I don't think they'll put him up against safeties. What am I talking about? Putting him up against tight ends and running backs. Maybe running backs, but also at the same time, I think tight ends could be better for him. It depends who he's up against because running backs, they're a little bit more shifty. That's where Raheem Layne lacks. As far as tight ends, maybe better, but he's also a smaller defensive back than some of the guys we have on the roster right now. So right now it just doesn't look favorable if he was to be in man coverage. But we'll see, of course, through the two preseason games that we got to watch yet, the Texans and the New York Jets. Poor special teams play. Versatility lacks. I don't think versatility lacking would be a huge detriment to his path to roster because right now it looks as if he's just a safety. The Giants are very good at corner. Now, as far as poor special teams play, whether it's a violation in these new rules, a holding penalty, a block in the back, something along those lines, I think that would be a detriment to his roster path because special teams is going to be an outlet in which he tries to make the roster through. Instincts, I think there's certain players where they have high IQ, high instincts. I think Raheem Layne is probably not one of those players, and to where, he has to get used to the safety position a little bit more. I don't know what his deal is, but sometimes the IQ and the instincts don't grow for players over the course of a career. It just flatlines and plateaus. But also, if he doesn't get his hands on a few balls, I would tend to believe that that's a negative more than a positive because he didn't have much of a ball hawk ability in college, and the Giants are always looking for guys that could put their hands on the ball and get turnovers. Trey Herndon obviously had an interception against Detroit. Hopefully, in this scenario, he just, meaning Raheem Layne, he does not fumble it. So I do have Raheem Layne getting cut. Now, I always say this at the end of my videos that my views are very much open to change because, well, there's 2 weeks left, And different guys get hurt, different guys get cut, etc., etc. And I actually could see a guy like Raheem Layne making the roster if these injuries continue to pile up and the Giants have to force somebody on IR or they have to make all these sorts of moves. So Raheem Layne is probably in the back of the Giants' mind, also dependent on how he plays. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when the live stream pops up your drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.